Aloha. We're talking now about the period from 1900 to 1919 called Upending the Empire. In 1901, and this is page 210 in your text, the Empress Dowager Cixi started new phases of ambitious reforms learning from the West, which included ministries of justice, finance, trade, education, interior, posts, and communications, replacing old Qing entities. They were searching for a new constitutional order. The Qing version of the constitutional monarchy was taken from the Japanese Meiji Constitution of 1889 as its model, and they established a Supreme Court. There was separation of criminal and civil law and protection of limited liability, which is kind of a big deal, and an establishment of a Chamber of Commerce. They abolished the civil service exams in 1905, replaced by an education system based on Western models, and this destroyed the Qing's most powerful means of socio-cultural control. That was a big deal. They nationalized profitable industries like mines and shipping lines, and revenues grew more than 70% from 1903 to 1908. There was a national census taken between 1909 and 1911. They abolished the tradition of foot binding, and new policies were a significant chapter in modern Chinese institutional history. So I want you to watch this short video now, which talks about bound feet and the history of it. Quite interesting. Here we go.
Asia for the last 20 years. So decided that I wanted to look at something that was in China. First came to mind was women with bound feet. And I asked a good friend of mine whether she knew of anybody that was still alive. And everyone just said no. And then her driver actually turned around and said that his grandmother, Zhang Yongying, had bound feet. She was the first woman I photographed. And when I went to her village, I found that there was 3 other women there who had bound feet.
And what did these women have to endure?
When the foot binding was actually done to the young girl, the small feet would actually go underneath the sole of the foot and the large toe would point out. It would then be bound in 2 directions so that the heel came closer to the toes, creating kind of triangle arch that made the rest of the middle of the foot go upwards towards the ankle, within the heel.
Now, foot binding was banned in China over 100 years ago, so how is it that these women, now in their 80s or 90s, had to endure this practice?
So it continued on after the 1911 ban, more in rural areas than it did in cities. Generally, they met their husbands through a matchmaker, and it would be the mother-in-laws who insisted that they also had bound feet. A woman with bound feet would be considered a good wife because she would be subservient and she would also not complain, as shown by having her feet bound and surviving or living a life with bound feet.
You documented and photographed in total 50 women. How did you get them to open up to you, to share their stories, and also to take off their tiny shoes and show you their lotus feet?
It has progressed, this project, over the last 8 years. The first woman, as I mentioned, Zhang Yongying, was more than happy to show me her feet, but her neighbors did not want to. I then had a book published in 2006. When I went back to the village, the ladies said, I want to be in the next book. So they were persuaded in a way that they realized I wasn't being like a typical tourist or Westerner coming in trying to exploit them, that I was trying to celebrate their lives and show people what they actually had gone through and what their lives were, the last women with bound feet.
And a final question for you. When I look at these photographs, I see that they're beautifully composed, they're stunning, but at the end of the day, they're portraits of women who, as young girls, were forced to mutilate themselves for social status. What's your personal feeling when you look at these photographs?
I think they're rather beautiful. I hope that is what I project in them, that these women have been through a lot. They've been through famine, they've been through the Cultural Revolution, they've been through foot binding. They're not rich, they are poor, peasant farmers. I want to show another side of them. I want to be able to celebrate them, and generations to come to actually look beyond the feet and see these women. Majority of the books that are about bound feet are on the beautifully embroidered shoes, or the academic side, the erotica of foot binding. I want to show the human side.
Not long.
Just wanted to share that I think it was in 2000, either 2000 or 1999, that I went to Xi'an and actually met a woman, an 84-year-old woman with bound feet, and had a chance to sit with her and listen to her story. And when we left, her 60-year-old son gave us a pair of the shoes that he made for her, and I have those in Oregon. Unfortunately, I don't have them here. So I'm going to stop the video here, and we'll take up more of this in the next video. Thank you.